What's up, rock stars? Today I'm going to be talking about what I plan on backing, where I'm putting my money in December. How am I going to end the year? I have to figure that out, but I'll be discussing it with you guys. Now, this is just a quick reminder that this is part one of a two-part series that I'm doing every single month, where at the beginning of the month, I talk about what I think I'm going to be backing or what I'm interested in or what I'm looking for and putting my money towards, whether it's in a pledge manager, whether it's on Patreon, whether it's on Kickstarter, whether it's maybe even something retail. If I'm planning on buying it and it's around the board game industry, I will let you guys know. And, not even planning, but maybe just thinking. Additionally, then at the very end of the month, I'll be looking back and say, okay, here's what I actually did, and here's why I did this, or why I didn't do this, or why I opted out of this, or whatever it might be, or why I went all in on this when I didn't think I would. Whatever it is, I'll let you guys know. So, these will be kind of paired each month. This is just the one going into December. So let's go ahead and take a look. If you didn't see my December Kickstarter video where I go through all the stuff and kind of what's coming in December, then you can go ahead and do that. For instance, the first game we're going to start with is Fallen Knight. So if you missed my last video, Fallen Knight is going to be coming out December 8th. Now, there's some more information I have that I can't really share. There's a lot of images I have that I can't really share. There's a lot of information that I just can't share yet. And I do apologize for that, but I do try to, respect people's wishes. I'm not just going to just say everything all the time, which is why I was playing Oathsworn and not telling you guys for months and months and months. It's hard, but sometimes sacrifices have to be made. For Fallen Knight, I am going to be looking into it, but that's about it. It's a dungeon crawl, but I don't know too much more than lore and theme and art when it comes to like raw mechanics. Like actual gameplay is what I really need to get hyped. Believe it or not, I don't hype a whole lot on theme. My actions might say otherwise, but I like to think I don't hype a lot on theme, but instead on cool mechanics and just cool gameplay. And so that's what drew me to Bardstown, was just the kind of the deck that makes the story that is constantly saving your actions, so you don't have to go hit a checkbox about, oh, I talked to this person, check C1 or anything. None of that. It just put that card in and comes up when it needs to. And just kind of, I like that kind of style. I think that's different than what I have back here. So that's kind of cool. For Fallen Knight, it's a dungeon crawler, not a boss battler. So it's not like Kingdom Death Monster. It's just thematically kind of like Kingdom Death Monster or Dark Souls, or just kind of a grim, dark fantasy kind of vibe, which I dig. Looking here at my favorite piece of art from the entire game that I've seen so far, mainly because it both is the best artwork I have seen for the game, more on that in a little bit, and I think captures the theme and maybe the unique aspect here, where not only are you collecting loot from fallen enemies that you kind of fight, but also memories. And so you can kind of soak in those memories and kind of gain power of some kind through that. I don't know if it's necessarily tied to the level up system or ability system or skill set, or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a currency, kind of like a Souls, from a Dark Souls thing or something like that. Not sure exactly how it works in the game, but I like it, the idea. And that little nugget right there, that kind of possible gameplay nugget, is what I'm after. That's what I want. And for the most part, they're just showing you really pretty renders. I will say, if I exit out of this a little bit, that most of the art I have seen looks closer to this style, which is okay. Incidentally, and I don't mean this the wrong way, but I view this as slightly amateur, I guess as we could say. It just seems a little indie, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just kind of what strikes me. But like, this art style seems great. If it had this, I'd be all over it. But a lot of it is kind of like this, which is cool. And I like that it's different, right? Like the eyeballs inside of a plant guy with some kind of weird porous moth thing with I don't know what's going on there. I like it. There's a lot of uniqueness going on here. The style is a little odd for me. And so, like, for instance, it now has a BGG page. This is kind of the typical art I have seen. This is, to me, what I associate with Fallen Knight at this point. And again, maybe it's just the lighting not matching the background, or I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's just something that I hope, I hope it improves from this. I'll just put it that way. This isn't my jam. per se. But gameplay can do a lot, and kind of theme, not art, but theme can do a lot too. So I am interested. I'll be looking into it. Additionally, if it's really popular with you guys, I'll probably, go ahead and back it just so that we can compare and contrast opinions. There are times where I will back things for the channel, not necessarily for me. And of course, I'll talk about that. Next up, I have Bardstown. So pledged at the 75. I actually had upgraded it. I actually had the early bird one. Was there an early bird one for this? No, maybe it was a different one. Anyway, this one I wanted to upgrade to get the Legend Pledge with the Lost Forge, or whatever this one is, the Lost Levels. But I couldn't add this during. I just kind of had to do my basic one. But honestly, $100 for an entire campaign dungeon crawl game with all these like really cool, unique sculpts, because I don't want a bajillion goblins. I don't want 100 zombies, but do I want a 2-headed mushroom guy? Yeah, sure, I'm all about that. Do I want a freaking pack of wolves, not just 1 but 3 on the same base? Sure. A freaking cave shark instead of a cave troll? Yes, please. So I really like the styles, but almost all of these I really dig, actually. I think this chick right here is amazing. Like, I can see my daughter wanting to play her instantly. Anyway, a lot of I love the bird rogue too. I think he's great. A lot of really cool stuff here that I'm really into, like the streamlined gameplay. That's one of my favorite things, a lot about most of my favorite games. Stuff like Blood Rage. It's a very streamlined game. It plays quick. It's not super complex, but it's nuanced and deep enough to where I still get enjoyment out of it. Conan, same kind of thing. So I'm really into that. I'll definitely be probably adding this. It's $60 more. It's not quite as good of a deal. However, that means that at $160, I own all of the gameplay for Dungeon Crawl, and that's almost unheard of. It just doesn't really happen. If you look at all of these games here, none of these dungeon crawls cost that little. It's always way more, right? As somebody who all-in backed Bloodborne, yeah, it can get ridiculous where you're just spending double, triple that amount to get all just the gameplay, and you still might be missing a few FOMO minis that are attached to other crap, or who knows what else people are doing. So the amount of unique sculpts, the style, the gameplay, it looks like I'll enjoy it, and if $60 gets me everything that this game has to offer me for gameplay, I think I can swing that. And while I'm not as big on this theme, it is a big change from this. So by the time I get done with this, I'll be done fighting hobgoblins. I don't want to see hobgoblins again. But freaking Iron Man suit things? Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's kind of my thought process there. Once that opens up, I'll probably do that. I wanted to do it before, but money's been tight lately. I have a few house repairs and some car issues, and just normal life stuff that happens. It happens to me, happens to you guys, I'm sure too. It's kind of all dogpiled, and so and it's freaking Christmas time. My kids I gotta buy toys for my kids too, not just me. Okay, so. Next, Death Goddess Azami. I am in the STL Enthusiast pledge tier, which I believe was added. Before, I think I was just at €1, but now I'm at $15, essentially. And honestly, $15 for what you get here, I think is really good. All the STLs, which is great. So, full transparency, I will be getting her sometime here soon to show you guys, which would be great to actually kind of see, especially the skill. I don't think... And it's because they don't put a real, like a comparison mini next to her, right? But the scale is big, and it'll be nice to kind of show that, I think. I do want to get him, though, so I'll probably add him later, because I definitely want him. And the other thing I want, so the STL here is great. They added an alt sculpt of the bust with the face, and I definitely want that. So I'll probably grab that bust and then probably him, and I think that'll be it. At that point, I'll have just about, I think, everything else. I'll have this as an STL, I'll have this as an STL, I'll have this alt bust thing so I can have her face showing. I probably won't get him as a bust, and then I'll probably grab him alone as well, just to kind of have the pair, almost like bookends, right? And I figure I can kind of do some cool display stuff with that. I wouldn't actually get him if it wasn't for his mask. I think they have a good picture of the mask here. Yeah. So this mask, come on. I know you have a close-up picture of the mask. I know you do. Maybe you don't. Yeah, here, right here. Like, that is cool. Look. Oh, it looks so good. So crisp. And there's still like supports on him, like that. It still needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but that looks great. I'm all about that. I think that'll be really cool. Okay, so that's it for that. I'm going to be spending too much money is what I'm telling you from there. Signum Workshop, I'm keeping my pledge. This hasn't really changed a whole lot. I'll definitely be in for the 16. I really hope the last 48 hours on this explode and do quite well, because I do want the stretch goals, and I guess I can kind of explain why a little bit. So let's actually go down to those. Oh, by the way, she prints out great. She scales up great. Here she is at about a little over 200%. She's about 70 millimeters here. Looks great. They have a painting competition for her. Ends December 3rd. I wanted to participate, but I don't have the time between making these YouTube videos, and I've been playing a video game my wife bought me. Ghost of Tsushima, great game, by the way. So I've been playing that on the PS4. I've been playing some Super Fantasy Brawl. I've been reading through this Easerfield's rulebook. It's terrible. I'll talk more about that in a little bit in a future video. Either way, I've been busy. I've been really busy. I'm working again. I don't have any more vacations. So, okay, so we got these, right? And they've been adding these little diorama decorative pieces that I really dig, because one of the things I've been about is getting really cool bases from miniatures for STL, so that I can rebase my board game miniatures. For instance, I was drawing on the Oko miniatures, little planks, and it looked okay. I was pretty proud of my freehand a little bit, but it was also very basic. I can now 3D print a wooden plank board, a base for them to put on. So I can put them in the freezer, snap them off the base, glue them on the new one, and now suddenly my entire board game has this really cool 3D based thing that's unique to my copy. And I just think that's so cool and amazing. But being able to add little stuff like this, knowing that Ragnarok is coming out, I think is awesome. So Monolith does the little textured bases, but it's just like a texture. So being able to add a little totem or a little anvil and hammer or a Norse boat kind of thing or stuff like that, I think would be super cool to be able to do. So I'm actually kind of excited about being able to do that. I think it's great. Okay, so looking at the stuff that we haven't unlocked, don't care so much about fish in a barrel, and maybe that's what's kind of blocking this a little bit, but we start getting the Valkyries. A whole new miniature is great, and then alts. But at least I want the whole new miniature, right? But if we look here, you get the chest. A chest would be great. The axe would also be good with the little mushrooms there. Alt sculpt, don't care about. I love Valkyries in general. I think they're just very cool kind of angel warrior kind of fighter things that I really like. This is one of my favorite stances for them, just because you don't normally get a stout stance. If you do normally, it's like the sword in front. And so just kind of having a totally different weapon than maybe you'd expect from that seems pretty cool. And I like the wings flayed out like that, as opposed to maybe in here, though it is cool that she's floating there, I suppose. And I like the weapon changes there. And these alt sculpts are just good, but these are like based off followers, right? And I really hope we get that too, mainly because, again, there's more versions. I don't know if I'd even print multiple of them, but I just think it's great. They just all look cool. So hopefully that it gets a little bigger. The main thing to drive the price is people buying the actual resins. From my understanding is they come in quite a few pieces, but they're very, very well detailed and cast. So that's obviously good to hear. Just some assembly required. Okay, moving on. Okay, Hell the Last Saga. This might surprise you guys. If you recall, I said I would not back Hell because I want to get Solomon Kane first so I can see Mythic Games print a lot of text very well. Traditionally, the issues they've had in some past stuff is the print stuff. Just getting that printed material right, whether it's translations, whether it's organization, whether it's accuracy, whatever it is, right? They're one of the few companies I've gotten production stuff in that on the same card will have two different languages. Like they accidentally printed German on something. It's like, why would you do that? That sort of thing, right? So I got Super Fantasy Brawl. Really, really fun game. Not a lot of written material though, right? So I was hoping to get Solomon Kane first. And I still might wait until how long the Pledge Manager is open. However, it's freaking cheap. And I didn't realize because I just dismissed it, right? And you guys didn't tell me, so shame on you. $130 and you have the game. Just like when I was talking about Bardstown, just when I was talking about how it's like one expansion, that's it. Same thing with Hell. It's pretty much just Hell plus one expansion, and the rest is like chests and, leather-bound stuff and a neoprene mat and all the nice stuff, really cool dice and all, which is great. But for somebody focused on gameplay more than anything, so for somebody who's never actually personally bought extra dice for a board game, except like once or twice. But that's like after I've already played the game and I know I'm playing it a lot. Conan. Anyway, so that's really cool and all, but the fact that you get like everything for like, you get all of this for all of this here, like all this stuff for $130. I don't think that's the stretch goals. Yeah. So then the stretch goals are added. So you get like freaking ambient soundtrack and survivor miniatures. 11 of them, buildings and tokens and deluxe components. It was one of the campaigns also that deluxeified the game, which I really appreciate. Hate did that as well, where you're not just unlocking more stuff, it's better stuff. You're upgrading the components. You don't need a plastic token thing because everything's freaking 3D sculpted at this point for you. It's just, I love the premium feel of everything. That's awesome. So $130 for the whole game is a good deal, I feel, as long as the game's good, obviously, but $130 is a base price for like Massive Darkness 2 almost. So it's like I could base price something to get the whole freaking game, like all of it. Not bad. So that's a great price. So I'd definitely be looking into getting that. So I even have the Pledge Manager open here. Yeah, this is all you need. $129. They didn't increase the price either, which I very much appreciate. That way my money is just as good as other people's money. I get that, it's beneficial to have it in the Kickstarter because you're more exposure, more people are doing it, you're kind of spreading the word and helping along stretch goals. That being said, you get a better cut of it from the PM, so there's pros and cons to both, right? I mean, technically, Kickstarter isn't taking part of the money here, and in fact, neither is GameFound, so you're just getting my whole 130, so I'm paying more money than somebody who did it on Kickstarter. So I get the argument, but I prefer PM just like, while it's available, this is the price, and not fuss about trying to, because what people end up using, like, it almost like FOMO, like, you're going to have to pay $5 extra if you don't back now. It's like, don't pressure the consumer. Let them decide. Let them find very late that the whole game is $130 and he get it all. And then freak out about that a little bit. Let him do that. Here's all the other fancy extra stuff you can get too. And if I were to get anything, it'd be the making of. I dig an art book with lore or with text or something for me to read and kind of leaf through and appreciate and kind of nerd over. That being said, $30 is rough. $25 is like my limit normally for an art book, so I don't know if I'll actually bite the bullet on that. Additionally, they do have a double-sided neoprene mat. I have the mat for Super Fantasy Brawl. It is very nicely done. It's knitted. I won't pay for a neoprene mat that isn't stitched. I much prefer the stitch so it doesn't fray and stuff like that. Just makes it a little bit more premium, and they're already expensive anyway. I don't know if this is stitched or not. It's kind of hard to tell. Like, it doesn't show as stitched, but other stuff is. So if this is stitched, let me know. I'd have to go look through a whole bunch. I would be curious to know if this is stitched or not. If it's not, it should be, I think. Moving on. Speaking of cheap games, here is Mashina Arcana. $100 got me everything. The core game plus 2 expansions. $100. Shoot, why not? It's freaking like grim, it's kind of a grim dark kind of steampunk Cthulhu setting. Which I really appreciate the series take on it. It has it where you don't see the whole map and you uncover the map as you go. There was a side scroller, Mega Metro City that I really was into that sadly didn't come to be. It sounds like that might be having a resurfacing here soon, but, I really like the idea of just not knowing what's ahead, right? I really like that. Bardstown's doing the same. I like the exploration that just naturally does without any weird kind of rules and stuff like that. So, that sounds cool, but $100? Heck yeah, no minis, but you know what? It still looks like a really cool game. Looks kind of fun. And, again, it was $100. I feel bad thinking like, it's $100 to throw it away. Burn it. But still, like, this is an expensive hobby where the base prices are now $120 or more. $100 for everything sounds like a steal to me. So excited to do that. I need to pay for the shipping is all I need to do here. I need to click get started and pay like $20 in shipping or something like that. Next up, DEI. This is another one. I have the base pledge without minis. It's literally like the cheapest I could go in the PM, and I need to upgrade that. So what I want to do, because I have the prototype version, and it's one of the few prototypes I played after reviewing. I played it several times after reviewing, to the point where when I started setting up DEI to film my review of it, my wife was disappointed because she thought we were going to play and wanted to play. So we ended up playing after I reviewed it. I kid you not, this is one of the games that stayed on my table for quite a few days, where we ate at the island because the dining room table was taken up by a board game. It's a fun game. It's really good, and it looks sweet. The 3D kind of element to the terrain, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but it looks so good. It really does. It has great gameplay. It's just a really solid game. I really enjoyed DEI. The best game that Ludus Mana Studio has made, as far as I'm concerned, at least with what I've played. I enjoyed almost all of it. It's really, really good. So I definitely need to get it. The hard part is I want it all, and that obviously costs, right? So we got 79 euros for the miniatures, which again, the miniatures are quite nice. Like they're well done. And a whole bunch of, stretch goals and stuff like that. Then, and I won't be getting this because I don't really want the PVC resources. I mean, I'm fine getting the PVC resources. My problem is paying for the PVC resources. And this is, part of it's because I actually struggle to buy stuff for myself. There was something in the way of the camera. Part of it is that I struggle to, buy stuff for myself, but part of it's just, at some point it's like, how much do I want to spend on this game? And like, how much is that adding? And this looks great. It really does. I just don't know if I want to pay for it. So like looking at it, it's got a wolf mini, so instant plus, obviously. The stretch goals actually, thematically were quite cool. So I'd want to get Mad Max and the Interceptors, just because I think they add some cool gameplay elements that they would kind of show up every now and then. I'd definitely be going for them for their kind of mercenary stuff. I wouldn't get the sleeves. I wouldn't get the art book probably, though again, 20 is a lot nicer. Maybe I need to look into that. The Cash and Rads I'd probably get as well, because I think they also have some cool things. I don't know if I'd actually play 5 or 6 player, but I did confirm you can actually just use these in the normal 4-player game as well. I like the fact that I could be able to shop anywhere and stuff like that. I think there's just some, or the dudes freaking radiating out. There's some very cool gameplay mechanics that both of them add that would really change things up depending on where they're, if they're in the game or not, which just adds a lot of variety. The Citadel thing, it's kind of a toss-up. I like the minis. I like the idea of an alternate play, but I've not played that alternate play, and I know I like the core. Will I like this version? I don't know. But you can essentially get like a tech all-in that gets you a kind of a nice savings. Yeah, right here, tech all-in. It gets you the Cash and Rad plus the Citadel for a cool 60. That's like the Bardstown one, and then essentially that's pretty much it, minus Mad Max, and actually Penny Boom as well. I might get, it depends, 8 for 1 mini included. I have to see what she does in the game. Twisted Fables. Okay, so I backed the deluxe. Look, I'm here too. I found myself constantly wanting to play this game. This is fantastic. I cannot recommend this enough. This is my favorite card game right now. Very true. It's a great game. Very much enjoyed it. Actively wanted to play it with anybody who came over. I really like kind of one of the best things about it is just somehow from a card game getting the feel of like whipping people. Like I love that Mulan can just like freaking flip people around and push them around and do all this stuff. I really like kind of I'm hurt, but now I have my epic, so I'm super strong. I like how each player plays different. The fact that you can kind of spec players differently, so you can have Sleeping Beauty, but I'm always awake in Sleeping Beauty, and that's just my style. Or I'm a flash in the pan Sleeping Beauty, or maybe I don't even awaken at all. I mean, there's different ways to play each character, which is cool. Here's my issue. So with the Deluxe Pledge, I got pretty much everything I want, except the Playmat Bundle. $50. But they do look nice. I'd get 4 of them, which is all that I need. I don't know. It depends. It's to the point where, do I spend that much on what's essentially a card game? But I know I like it. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to mull over this, because I just don't like spending money, right? It's like, do you want to put $50 into that? That's like, that's half of Mashina Arcana, right? That's half of this game for neoprene mats. I also need to see if they're stitched or not, because I would prefer them to be stitched, but maybe they're not. I don't know. Okay, lastly, one last thing. I know this was a long one. I Patreoned Cobra Mode, so just as an FYI. I'm just trying to tell you everything I kind of put money towards, so you guys can see. This was one of the few that I covered that I was not backing, and definitely in on this. This was the last day to grab this guy, so I did get him. They won me over, those jerks. This is real. It's funny, I back these, again, for the basis half the time. One of my patrons printed this one with the rippled water. It's amazing. It looks so good. It looks so good. A lot of this stuff, though, I can see using... I can even use these in, like, Warhammer minis. Like, they're just really good. They come in different sizes, so I don't have to custom scale them, which is nice. Like, all of that's awesome. December, by the way, has a freaking traveling snail that looks, like, ugly. But look at the leaf. They have freaking leaf bases. That's cool, too. I love it. There's just... I don't know. Very cool design minis, very unique, and so yeah, there I am. All right, so that's where I'm spending my money. I would love to know what you're spending your money on, or what you think you're going to spend your money on. What will you be backing in December? Let me know what you're looking into, whether I've covered it or not. Maybe I'll be interested as well, and you can cost me money, so it's me costing you money. But suffice it to say, yeah, I'm costing myself money too. This stuff's great. All of this is thanks to my patrons, by the way. Literally all of it. I am now fully funding through Patreon. Now, obviously, as you saw, there's more stuff I could want, and I definitely want to keep saving up for a camera. I'm working towards that as well. I've now narrowed it down to 2 different cameras. They're both, like, movie production stuff. Like, it's going to be great. You're going to see every ugly pore on my face. No, it should be really, really good. And so I'm saving up for that. I want to do some traveling next year as well with the Patreon money. I want to be able to actually go to some cons, meet some of you guys, play some games, chat it up, maybe go grab a good bite to eat in the city afterwards or something like that. Seriously, I'm all about the community here, so I'm super excited to actually kind of get out there. Maybe this is the COVID me talking too, I don't know. But there's a lot more I want to fund, but I am super proud to say that I am funding through them and not any of these companies. So if you can, if you're willing, there is a link below to my Patreon. I would love for you to be part of that community over there. We have a great time over there. We really do. Especially in that Discord. If not, though, that's totally fine too. Seriously, I appreciate you just being here. You're a rock star, and I mean that every time I say it. On your way out, if you liked this video, be sure to press that like button. Helps me out and costs you nothing. Otherwise, again, leave a comment on anything you might be doing, and especially if it's something I may not be aware of. And also, real quick, subscribe. No, and I'm serious, like, because the next video that I do is going to be the big 2021 Kickstarter video. What's coming up in 2021? It's going to be huge. It's going to be stuff you have not seen before. I'm excited to share it with you guys. Going to be big. I'll see you then. All right, guys. Bye.